Okay, hey everybody, welcome to the WordPress walk around. In this video, we're going to take some time to familiarize ourselves with the WordPress dashboard. If you're already familiar with WordPress dashboard, feel free to skip this lecture and move on to the next. We're not going to touch on anything that is going to provide additional content for experienced WordPress dashboard users. We're just going to touch on the highlights and what the WordPress dashboard has to offer its users. So let's begin. Click in the link you found on your email from your hosting provider. They should have sent you an email which gives you your WordPress login information. So it would have been an URL and an initial password. Your URL, if you look on the screen here, is probably something similar to this. Of course, it won't say Divi Themes Tutorial, but it will be your domain name right here, your domain name, okay? Followed by // login /php. That's the typical WordPress login for the home page. So this will take you to the page, then log in using your email address or your username password. That's the username and password hosting provider provided you. Okay, so here find yourself the actual dashboard after logging in. This is the screen that you're going to see, which is your actual dashboard for this main piece here. It's just kind of a snapshot of what's going on in the world of WordPress, what's happening on your site at a glance. There's some basic activity, your latest blog post. For blogging, here will be WordPress news here. And then there's just some basic information which you can get from for your website here. I honestly don't use all of this. I usually stick to the left side. So let's look at the left side and go through each and give you a high-level overview exactly of what they are. So let's look at the left side here on the post. So what we're going to start with is your blog post. So if you're blogging once a week, if this is where you're going to add your post so they can look at it every time you go here. Of course, this site is brand new, so there's nothing in it. It's a generic blog post that WordPress provides you with your theme. Then you can add new blog posts. This is a platform for adding new blog posts. Then you have categories, and you can add categories for a real helpful way to group related posts together, also to quickly tell readers what the post is all about. That makes it easier for readers to find your content here below. We'll get more into the categories too later on. By the way, below here you have tags that are like categories, except they're smaller in scope and they focus on specific topics. For example, if I had a category titled fiction writing, under that category I would write blog post, and my blog post would feature tags or keywords that are related to that specific blog post. If I wrote a blog post about outlining a new book, I would use the word outlining book, outlining how to outline your book as the tags to the post. Just like categories, tags help your readers specifically search through your content, looking for certain topics. So that's important to understand. We'll get into categories and tags later on below post. We have media. Okay, and the media is your library. All right, that's where you'll add all your images, of course. And there's none here, but there will be some added later on. Below are your pages. There are pages on your website. You'll probably have this one sample page because there isn't anything else that we're going to be creating some pages coming up next when we create pages and actual menus for your website. So stay tuned for that. We'll get into more detail below as there are comments. So this is where you'll find the comments on your blog post, and you have the ability to turn comments on or turn comments off, and we can look at that later. But if you have comments on and people are replying or commenting on your blog post, you'll see them pop up here. Appearance is going to have all of this information. It's all of a theme, so related. So if you have different options for themes, let's say you have 2 or 3 different WordPress themes that you have uploaded to your WordPress website. Of course, you can only use one theme at a time, but you may have several. There's a section where you can customize the themes, do basic things like headers and the menus and just some basic items. Then you have widgets. And widgets, they perform specific functions and provide a real simple and easy to use way of giving a design and structure control on your WordPress theme user. For example, on this current website, they have these widgets. There's a search widget. Everybody's familiar with those. There's a recent post widget, comments, archives, categories, and some meta form information. Now, what I want to do is show you what widgets looks like on the actual website by going up here to the left and click the visit site. Okay, then I'll scroll down. That's the header. There are the widgets. Remember the search widget and recent post widget and comments and the rest of the information there. There are widgets and this is what they look like. So whenever you're looking at a website and has information like this in some type of fashion, then those are actual widgets. Below they've got menus, of course. Menus are exactly the information to the pages that people see. They are usually located on the top at the bottom of WordPress website. Header is the actual header. So for example, back to this website here with all this information, this is the header. You can see how to edit the header. Of course, you can edit it with different images. You can edit it with HTML or CSS. You can add all sorts of different stuff. And speaking of editing, here's the main editor to WordPress site. This is where you can get all this different advanced kind of stuff. I highly recommend if you don't know how to code or edit HTML, don't mess around with this at all. It's just the CSS type of stuff, and it's not something that you want to play around with. You could legitimately go into one of these, take out a single dot on the pages. Like for example, here I could pull out and delete it and would mess up the entire website. So stay away from this stuff unless you know what you're doing. Below the appearance, you have a plugins, and plugins is a piece of software containing a group of functions that can be added to a WordPress website. They extend functionality, or maybe they even add a new feature to your WordPress website. Right now, the only plugin that I have added to this website is the login insert that you can see, the login sizers WordPress plugin. This helps me fight against attacks by blocking logins from different IP users. So for example, if someone overseas or a bot is trying to log in to that main page that we looked at earlier, this would prevent them from logging into that below that we've got users. You may have additional people that you want to access your website. This is where you're going to give them access, provide them tools, or exactly as they are. There are several tools you have the option to use, and setting it up is very important. Settings, we'll go into that later, but this shows all the main information that you want on your website. So whether you want to have a blog on your front page or a static page, those are all the different kinds of options you want to read, and things that are all located right here. In a nutshell, this is your WordPress dashboard. Now, I went through it kind of quick. I'm not trying to get you confused or you overwhelmed. The thing is, I'm going to be using a majority of this information on the left side to build out your entire website. So when you get a little bit familiar with it, we will actually use it and use it over and over again. I just wanted to give you a kind of quick walk around so you understood a little bit about what we're looking at. You can always go back to the video and look at it. Just start clicking around. It's fairly easy information to understand. So let's move on to the next video.